Juventus is a club that has winning in their DNA, and Thiago Motta hasn't done that really. 7 wins and 12 draws is borderline unacceptable.
Now that Juventus are finally acting like a big club and Giuntoli is a master in the transfer window, I don't know who that fraud is. We might as well call him Michael Talks Fraud. Juventus are the most fascinating club this season as they are unbeaten in Serie A, only suffering 2 losses in all competitions. The first one against Stuttgart, where they should have really lost 4 or 5-0, and the other loss happening in the Supercoppa against Milan. But Juventus are unbeaten. But that means nothing, as Juve have 7 wins in the Serie A, 13 draws. They are in 5th place, 2 points behind Lazio for the Champions League spot. So being unbeaten is actually misfortunate for Juventus, which is crazy to say compared to other teams this century when you think of the likes of Bayer Leverkusen to Arsenal to Juve, who have all won their league titles while going unbeaten. It's a funny thing, 13 is a lucky number. The Italian expression fare 13 literally means make 13, which means hit the jackpot. Well, Juventus have hit the jackpot of becoming the draw merchants of football. I was very excited for Juventus football this season. We have suffered watching Allegri ball. Nobody wanted to watch Juventus under Allegri. Yes, he got results and he won the Coppa Italias in his last stint with Juventus, but the football was dire. I would have rather watched bowling
to claim it, and he got it!
or snooker than Juventus play football. But yes, this season, you can see there's the elements of a good team. But it all doesn't matter if you don't pick up results. You have to win some games. And Juve are struggling to do that right now. So why are they drawing so many games? One, it could be of a lack of leadership from Thiago Motta to Giuntoli to the players. This team, you look at the players on the team. Is there any real leaders? Is there a Bonucci, a Chiellini, a Del Piero? No, there isn't. Yes, you have some talented players like a Cambiaso, to Yildiz, to Locatelli. There is a lot of good players. But do they scream leaders? When the going gets tough, when you're in a 1-0 situation, you need to see out the result. Juve cannot do that right now. And Thiago Motta also needs to take some blame for this. It's crazy to say that a manager takes blame for being unbeaten, but you are in winning positions constantly. You're 1-0 up against Atalanta, 1-0 up against Torino, 2-1 up against Fiorentina, 1-0 up against Lecce. These are the results you have to just win. Some of them were late equalizers like the likes of Lecce and Fiorentina getting a late equalizer. It would be hilarious to see Juventus go unbeaten and not win the league. But that's actually happened before in Italian football, as in 1978 to 79 season, Perugia were unbeaten in the Serie A with 11 wins and 19 draws. They finished 2nd place behind Milan. So Juve, if they went unbeaten, wouldn't be so historic, but their fans would be upset. Juve spent a lot of money over the season. Cabal, Kefram Turam, Koopmeiners, Douglas Luiz, and some of those players. I mean, Koopmeiners this season, compared to what he was at Atalanta, is highly underperforming this season. And why is Koopmeiners struggling? Well, when you look at his skill set, is he a number 10? No, he's not really a creator. He doesn't have the athleticism for that position at the moment. And he's really just running around, doesn't really get involved with the play, kind of playing as a false nine. That's not Koopmeiners' games. If you look at Koopmeiners at Atalanta, late runs into the box, a lot of his goals were at the edge of the box, either one-time finishes or he would take a touch and finish. So Koopmeiners, I think he's really lacking identity on this team, and that's on the manager Thiago Motta. And Douglas Luiz, I think he was just signed because his girlfriend went there. What his role is on this team, I have no clue. And they paid almost 60 million euros for Douglas Luiz, and he's been underperforming. Yeah, he's had some bright spots, but overall, and he's suffered with injuries, he hasn't been good enough. So the big money signings that Juve spent on have been underperforming, which is not going to help. I think they are misfortunate in some games. Like, they play good football. You know, the game against Atalanta last night, Juve are playing good football. They're creating chances. They had that last minute chance with Yildiz. If he just squares it to Mbangula, they could win the game. I think Juve are playing good football, but you can just see there's a lack of leadership, of a lack of character on this side. Compared to, like, let's say Inter. Inter have leadership. They have a manager who's done it before. When they get a 1-0 result, it's done. It's finito. But with this Juve team, they are just struggling to see out the games. Now, if they could sign some developed players, that would be good. Of course, they got a lot of good youngsters, but you also need to sign players that are ready-made. And Juve right now don't have those ready-made players on their team, and they have suffered with injuries. Cabal out for the season with ACL, Bremer out with an ACL injury for the season. There's no Milik, there's no Vlahovic, but Juve still should be beating sides like Lecce. They should be beating sides like Venezia. I think they have a good project going, and I think Motta is the right guy. It's going to take some time. Maybe next season we're going to really see this team flourish, but this is very critical season. You spend all this money. Yes, they sold a lot of pieces like Huijsen to Sule, but you need to get Champions League football. Juve not getting Champions League football this season would be a disgrace in my opinion. The one thing Motta needs to do is his in-game management needs to improve. The subs need to improve. The way he attacks teams needs to improve. They're playing good football. They're passing the ball well, tiki-taka, but there's no directness with this team. Sometimes when you watch Juve, you're like, okay, you're going to attack now. Okay, is Grace passing the ball side to side like it's a boomerang? Can you create? Can you create the chances? Vlahovic, can you step up this season? And Giuntoli needs to sign players that fit into Motta's system. Is Vlahovic a Motta player? Not really. And that's going to be a big conversation heading into the summer. Do Juve move on from Vlahovic? Of course, they just signed Colomboani for a loan for the rest of this season. Colomboani, yeah, he's been struggling big time with PSG. I think he's a good player and he might actually fit into Motta's system. So that actually might be a good loan signing because Vlahovic needs backup. There is no other striker on this team. Of course, Milik is out injured, but there's no other striker on this team. They need a vocal presence down the middle. And what do you do with the likes of Koopmeiners and Douglas Luiz? Do you maybe move Koopmeiners to the 8 and play him alongside Locatelli or Keprantura when you can rotate? Could an option be playing Yildiz in the 10 and playing Contessao on the right and then maybe Timothy Weah on the left? Those are options that Motta has to try because Yildiz is just a sensational player. He is the one bright spot. He is going to be an unbelievable footballer, such a versatile player. Plays on the left, plays on the right, plays down the middle. For only being 19 years old, shows maturity. And that's what this Juve team need. And he's going to really have to dig deep and drag them through the mud because Juve, while they're unbeaten, are in the mud. They need to collect some wins. You cannot constantly draw. If I was a Juventus fan, I would have no hair. I mean, I'm close to it now. I would have no hair because this is getting ridiculous and I'm tired of it. I'm simply tired of it because I see the elements of a good team and I can imagine this growing frustration within the fan base that you see the elements of a good side, you're playing good football, but at the end of the day, what's the goal in football, people? Collect the W, get the win, get the 3 points and move on, and Juventus are not doing it. The one thing you can say about Allegri is he would get the victory. It wouldn't be pretty. It would be 1-0. He would be screaming on the sideline. He would take off his tie. He would take off his suit. But Allegri will get the victory. So Thiago Motta has to develop that sort of winning mentality and desire in this side. He needs to show some character as well. Now, do I think Juventus are going to go unbeaten for the rest of the season? Highly doubt it. Their next 2 games are Milan and Napoli, which is going to be fascinating to watch. I would recommend watching that Juve-Milan game. That is going to be must-watch TV. So I don't think Juventus are going to go unbeaten, but it is just craziness that they are still unbeaten and we are 20 games in the Serie A and they're in fifth place, people. 5th place. But this is the wonderful side of football. You get these crazy stories like this and you just want to watch. It's like a movie. And I just want to see how this movie is going to play out. Either Juventus turn into a good side and they get top 4, or this could all crash down and they don't even finish in the top 6 position and have to play Conference League football. I mean, that would be ridiculous. And Thiago Motta would really be on the hot seat. But let me know your thoughts, people. Why do you think Juventus are drawing all of these games? Is it a lack of leadership? Is it Thiago Motta's tactics and player selection? Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Remember to follow me on all the socials. You can find those links in the description down below where I'm tired of Juventus. But have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. Till next time. Adios.